activities for celebration. Federal government assures of better days as Naira appreciates. Okwama 17. Governor Obowewori gets access to community. Promises return of indigents after due process. Details of these and other stories in a moment. A very good morning to you. Thank you for joining us on the news at 7. I am Uyoko Uswa. With few days of the first anniversary celebration of the Umoino-led administration, activities earmarked for the event have been made public. The governor made this known at the April monthly Government House prayer held at the Later House Chapel, Government House, where he also spoke on other issues including the upcoming birthday anniversary, the Arise initiative for elders, as well as the need to protect government's projects against vandalism. Our Government House reporter, Patience John, has more.
Thanksgiving, choir rendition and praises were some features at the service, while the Deputy Governor, Senator Okoniyalanyi, took the Bible reading.
Be rescued from perverse and evil men, for not all have faith. But the Lord is faithful, and He will strengthen and protect you from the evil one.
Governor Moino spoke on his 60th birthday in 1 year in office.
I'd like to also say that on Wednesday, for those who have time, on the 24th, that will be my 60th birthday. For me, take the money, look for somebody, make somebody happy, and tell the person you are celebrating my birthday with the person. Bless a life. Send us the pictures. We'll make an album. And it's a wish. Everybody has the right to decide how he wants. You know, the only thing we intend to do is to go for a Thanksgiving service, 4 p.m. at the International Christian Worship Center. For those of you who are disposed, please join us. Say that we're beginning to get into our first year in office, and we'll list up some projects that we'll commission. The ones we inherited, we're finishing and exiting, and the Secretary to Government will soon make the list available. Please join us as we come to your area, as we commission these projects.
On the Arise initiative for the elderly in vandalism of government infrastructure, Governor Moino warned defaulters to desist from such acts.
Each local government give us 15 elderly people so we can support them, if for nothing, their medications. And we give them 50,000 naira a month. It's an Arise initiative for the elderly. But we have observed that the complaints we get is that some people have hijacked that process. And I will either cancel it or we get those people to book. And you know me, the day I would take the microphone and announce your name, there's nothing you can do. So please allow the process to run. One person cannot bring 15 people. Not supposed to be a PDP thing. Please, government programs are not meant for PDP. Government programs are meant for Akwa Ibom people to deal with. And I want to please appeal. Each transformer now costs between 12 and 15 million naira. If you find it cheaper, let us know. But I like to beg. There are communities that I know the last administration got well over 200 transformers. I mean, maybe that I'm even understating it. But they distributed these transformers. They fixed these transformers. But they vandalized these transformers. People live in those communities. And so if government brings 15 million naira, install a transformer in your community, and you can't make people watch it, you can't set up a system to protect it, and they vandalize it, you come again.
A sermon by the Reverend Emmanuel Inyama of the Precious Faith Church encouraged believers to pray for each other.
The greatest enemy any of us have is the enemy from within. And if you can discern the enemy from within, and it can be your cabinet. If God can help you to know the enemy within, the strength of the enemy outside will be arrested.
The governor on Friday attended the funeral service of the late Etelu Dominic Udoi Baga of the Siena local government area and the traditional marriage between Princess Naomi Ukpongeno and Joshua Davis Udo in Nikore Penudo, the local government area where the governor served as the father of the day. Patience John, AKBC News.
In response to the 2024 annual flood outlook released by the Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation, that 31 states, including Akwa Ibom, are under threat, Governor Moino has swung into action to mitigate the impact of the impending occurrence. As part of measures, a monitoring committee has been constituted to interface with relevant federal government agencies as well as ascertain effects of the impending flood. The committee has the Commissioners for Environment and Mineral Resources, that of Water Resources and Sanitation, Health, and that of Internal Security and Waterways as members. Others include the Agriculture Buzz, that of Information and Strategy, Lands and Urban Development, as well as a chairman, Akwa Ibom State Environmental Protection and Waste Management Agency. The governor directed the immediate activation of the Emergency Management Protocol of the state by the State Emergency Management Agency to be headed by the Deputy Governor, Senator Akun Eyagayi. Similarly, the State Environment and Mineral Resources and Waste Management Agencies are to commence immediate and aggressive desilting of gutters and flood control channels across Akwa Ibom. According to the Commissioner for Information, Comrade Ini Ememebong, these committees are to brief the governor within 48 hours, as all have been assured of the preparedness of government to take necessary actions in order to ensure that the effect of the impending flood is minimized. The member representing Ibionibum State constituency in the State House of Assembly, Mr. Moses Asien, has advised students of the local government instruction in tertiary institutions across the country, alongside their conventional education, to acquire for themselves contemporary marketable skills. The lawmaker was speaking at the Assembly complex when the National Association of Ibionibum Students Worldwide paid him a visit. Yours truly, Uyoko Uswa, filed the following report.
Mr. Moses Asien, who chairs the House Committee on Health, traced his leadership beginnings to student associations and emphasized that leadership as a student was not an excuse for poor performance in school. He warned against vices like cultism, truancy, drug abuse, and the crave for fast money, noting that actions and inactions at any leadership position have far-reaching consequences, as all positions are temporary.
And then to also be encouraged that one day you can be like me. You can even go to higher political offices. So what is expected of you is that you are now in a learning ground to prepare yourself for the tasks ahead. I will be very glad to see that all the students of the Ibionibum, especially those in leadership position today, pass through the 4 walls of the university with good grade.
Reiterating his commitment to the welfare of students of the local government area in tertiary institutions, the Ibionibum State Legislator said he would make available a grant of 1.1 million naira to be shared among 10 students from each of the 11 wards of the local government area.
In my vision coming to the House of Assembly, having passed through this strata you are today, I think it's important I commit myself to the promotion of student welfare. That in my first one year in office, I intend to do a grant, where you call it a bursary, or we do a grant at least for 10% per each ward. How am I going to do it? I will leave it in the hands of knights worldwide. I think among having knowledge in computer, skill acquisition is very, very important so that it can make you self-reliant.
Earlier, the leader of the delegation and president, National Association of Ibionibum Students Worldwide, Comrade Good News Ekpenyong, said the group called at the assembly to commend their lawmaker for effective representation and to solicit his support for the plans of the association aimed at enhancing the welfare of Ibionibum students.
To extend a very special thanks to you, sir. For your one person we know that is always ready to welcome the students whenever we want to meet with you, sir. MP de pass MP Moses
Uyoko Uswa, AKBC News.
Government primary schools in the state have benefited from the distribution of farm inputs from the state government. At St. Patrick Primary School, Iboko Fort, Uyu, venue for the distribution, over 60 government primary schools were presented with cassava cuttings, maize, pumpkin seeds, and coconut seedlings. Eyarino Paul has the details.
Presenting the farm inputs to head teachers of government primary schools, the Commissioner for Agriculture and Rural Development, Dr. Fiongofo, said the gesture is to ensure that schools generate revenue internally through agriculture. Dr. Fohu re-emphasized the commitment of Governor Umoino towards ensuring food sufficiency, advised that the inputs be judiciously used, adding that the pupils should be taught the importance of farming. The state agriculture boss, who announced that schools with the best farms will be rewarded handsomely, noted that a monitoring team will be going round to assess the farms.
Then when we inculcate in these children the love for natural sciences and agriculture, we see that we will raise giants that will feed our nation tomorrow. I often tell people that agriculture is not something for our grandparents in the village. Whatever puts food legitimately on your table is something to be what? Proud of. Because when you are hungry, hunger has no respect for certificates. It has no respect for status. Whoever you are, when you are hungry, your face will change.
The Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Lady Reus Bassi, who represented the Commissioner, thanked Governor Umoino for placing premium on practical agricultural development in the state, promising that her ministry will ensure the multiplication of the inputs.
I want to start by thanking His Excellency, Pastor Umoino, the Governor of Akwa Ibom State, for being proactive, for being a responsive governor. He knows how things are now in the country, that what is really biting the common man is lack of food.
Government knows that we are facing problem, and that's why the government is saying, giving out this to schools to plant. Why? So that this issue of no food will be over.
The representative of Chairman of SUBEP, Mandu Ekpenyong, and head teacher of St. Patrick Primary School, Iboko Fort, Mrs. Ekaite Bassi, saluted the Ministry of Agriculture for interpreting the vision of government in agricultural sector, promising to make good use of the inputs.
I welcome you all for the flagging up of this agricultural input in Akwa Ibom State to spur up agricultural development.
We are very, 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 very grateful to your invitation, because we know what we have from you are improved varieties of the cassava cuttings. And the children now in the school, like this school, a child in this school can also come and address us on how to produce mushroom. We have them, yes.
Items presented to the schools include cassava cuttings, pumpkin seed, maize, and coconut seedlings. Eyagenopo. AKBC News.
We'll take a short break now, but there'll be more news when we return. Stay with us. So good to have you back. If you're just joining us, this is AKBC 45 News at 7. Moving on to other stories now. Family, friends, as well as staff of the Akwa Ibom Broadcasting Corporation throng the Ikoresenam community in Orogonam local government area to bid farewell to the late retired Captain Francis Willie Akpan, father-in-law to Mr. Raphael Utuk, Director Administration and Human Resources, AKBC. The funeral was conducted by St. Luke's Catholic Church, Ikoresenam, Orogonam local government area. Juliet Richard has the details.
According to the biography of late Captain Francis Willie Akpan, his unyielding spirit, unwavering love, and profound kindness touched the lives of all who had the privilege of knowing him. Born 7 decades ago, late Captain Francis grew up in Ikoresenam village, where he learned the values of hard work, compassion, and perseverance that defined his character. Late Francis started his career as a soldier during the Civil War and rose to the rank of captain, but voluntarily retired from army and ventured into private businesses that has brought development into his village. He was said to be the first to build story building in his village. As a committed Roman Catholic member, Papa held different positions, including Knight of St. John International, among others. In his homily, the Reverend Father Donatus Udoite, who preached on the topic, "What will you be remembered for?" charged all to exhibit a godly lifestyle, because a life once wasted can never be retrieved. Father Udoite admonished the deceased family to emulate the lifestyle of their late father, who impacted lives positively.
At the end of it all,
children, grandchildren, relatives, in-laws, and friends eulogized the quality of their late father.
I can only describe him as a father of a father. He was a very kind man, a very easygoing man, a man who did not have any difference between the children, the grandchildren, or the sons. He was a man for all of us.
I am so grateful to God. So God gave him that wisdom and knowledge to do the things he did. What did he do? He gathered his children, his family, entire family members together and blessed us.
He was a jolly good fellow, a man that could fight for his own children at any time of the day. He stood by me personally in all my struggles in life, and so did he do for any of his children. He will jump at anything just to ensure that his children are comfortable.
My father was everything to me. He was my mentor. When I mean mentor, he disciplined me. He built me up. Who I am today is because of our friends. I've never seen somebody so kind. No matter how much you hurt my father, he doesn't get angry. And we the children, we are the ones that will now become angry on his behalf, and he will be like, please, don't worry, don't worry. That is who my father was. I'm fortunate to have him as a father because he's always there for us. He always called me around 7. He said, I hope you are awake. I said, yes, Daddy, I'm awake. He said, I know, I trust you. You know how to sleep. I said, no, Daddy, I'm awake. He's the kind of person that put us on our toes to you. He was a very caring father, and he listened to you whenever you were in pain. Not only was he my grandfather, but also my best friend. He always took for me, inspired me to be the best person I can be of myself. He was always there by my side, even when you were concerned about it.
I said, Charles, will be here. I kept in party to the Senate from the Senate. I don't know if I said, I won't care anybody.
Men of the order and discipline paid their last guard of honor to the Captain Akpan.
memory of late Emoli Lieutenant Colonel Francis Akpan, Emoli Nigeria Your Command, present this accomplishment, the kit in the gallery in recognition of his service to the movement.
The remains of the late Captain and Noble Major Francis Willie Akpan were later laid to rest in his compound. Juliet Richard, AKBC News.
On the national scene, more than 1 month ago, the killing of 17 personnel leading to the invasion and cordoning off of Okwama, Delta State Governor Sheriff Oborewori has been finally allowed to visit the community after being prevented by the military authorities from accessing the community. The governor, who was accompanied by the Commander 63 Brigade, Brigadier General Ugochukwu, reiterated that innocent citizens would not be made to suffer for what they know nothing about. He gave assurances of the safe return of the indigents who fled the community into the woods in the wake of the crisis, stating that the incident was not bargained for. The governor promised that with the cooperation of the military, the people will be reintegrated back after following due process. He thanked President Tinubu for weighing into the crisis to ensure peace and the military for ensuring their promise that innocent people will not be victimized. Vice President Kashim Shettima has expressed optimism about the performance of the Naira at the forex market, saying it will appreciate more as dollar continues to crash. He stated this when a delegation from the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, led by its president, Gabriel Idahosa, paid him a visit at the presidential villa, Abuja. The vice president noted that the Tinubu's administration's decision to end the fuel subsidy and unify the multi-exchange has laid the foundation for development, assuring that the administration is working to address challenges in the power sector and generate jobs for youths. He hinted that President Tinubu's obsession is to live in a place of glory and transform Nigeria to a higher pedestal. In a separate meeting, the vice president urged Nigerians to live peacefully among themselves and learn to accommodate each other, emphasized the need for tolerance and togetherness. The Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission on Thursday carried out an enforcement raid at 2 supermarkets in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, to ensure adherence to price display and quantity regulations. The Executive Secretary of the Commission, Dr. Adamu Abdullahi, said the exercise targeted at reducing the high cost of food commodities nationwide would be extended to Lagos, Port Harcourt, Ibadan, Kanu, Kaduna and other cities in the coming weeks. Abdullahi said unannounced inspections would be carried out at the stores and open markets across different states as part of measures to control the abnormal price surges, which has failed to respond to the appreciation of the Naira in recent weeks. The FCCPC buzz further disclosed plans to raid some open major markets in the FCT to checkmate the arbitrary increase in prices of consumables by traders. The move was in direct response to concerns raised by consumers about the rising cost of goods, which go against the appreciation of the Naira. Just before we go, another look at the stories that made the headlines. With few days of the anniversary celebration of the Umoino-led administration, activities earmarked for the event have been made public. The governor made this known at the April monthly Government House prayer held at the Later House Chapel, Government House, where he also spoke on other issues, including his upcoming birthday anniversary, the Arise Initiative for Elders, as well as the need to protect government projects against vandalism. We also brought you a report that, as sequel to federal government alert on impending flood, Governor Moino has constituted a monitoring committee made up of commissioners to interface with federal agencies to mitigate its effects. And that's it for 7. There will be more news at 8. Do join us then. Have a great Sunday.